Hello everyone, it is Coco the Leafwing. You all know and love me, probably. I don't know. I'd hope. Anyways, this is my OC Tatteredamber. This is who you're looking at. And I actually did this drawing a long time ago. Yes, it doesn't look the greatest, I know. I'm still working on my drawing, and you'd think that I'd already be better at it because I took such a long break from YouTube. But I'm not. So we are going to dive right into Tatteredamber's story, and we are going to watch me draw him at probably 3 times speed because it took me like a little bit to make it circle. So, or 4 times, that works too. Yeah, that's fast enough. So, Tatteredamber started as a little kit who lived in a barn, specifically the barn in WindClan. Well, on WindClan territory. You know what I'm talking about. The one in, I know this isn't a very reputable source, but the one in Warrior Cats Ultimate Edition. So, he didn't have a name when he was first born, actually. He was born to Hazelnut and Bracken, 2 very loving parents, or so he thought. He had a brother, Eucalyptus, and a sister who died before he was born to foxes when she went to fight them by herself. Her name was Iris. And Iris is very important, so don't forget about her. So, Eucalyptus, since Iris died a couple weeks before my OC was born, Eucalyptus was still mourning for her, and he figured that the way he could, sorry about me just putting a point there and then pausing, I think it was probably because I went AFK for a minute while drawing or something. I don't know. Anyways. Oh, yeah, see, I'm back. Anyways. So, where do I begin with this? So, Eucalyptus was still mourning for Iris at the time of his brother's birth, and so he decided that the only way that he could really truly feel like things could get better was by telling his brother stories. So he went and they'd always go up to the 2nd floor of the barn and sit behind hay bales. They'd talk about Iris and all of the adventures that Eucalyptus had with her. You'd think Eucalyptus, never mind, I was going to say lost someone major, but he really did, so. Anyways, he told his little brother everything, but there was just one promise that his little brother had to keep in order for, him to continue being told these stories. And it's that he would never tell a soul about the stories, including Hazelnut and Bracken. The Tom wasn't sure why, and so, and currently we aren't either, unless you already heard this story, which it could be if you're a family member of mine. Anyways, so, one day, though, Hazelnut figured out, because she crept behind the hay bale, assuming that Eucalyptus and his little brother were just exploring, and heard the stories Eucalyptus was telling him. So, she didn't seem mad when Eucalyptus finally admitted it to her. Overnight, she went and told Bracken about everything, and they devised a plan, which you guys won't get to hear about. So, this kit, now 3 moons old at this point, was super excited. Also, he's still unnamed. Anyways, so they went on one of these walks because Hazelnut approached him one day, and she was like, you know what would be fun? If we went on a walk that on those walks like how your sister took. And this was a major step for Hazelnut, assuming that she didn't have bad intentions, which she did, but we'll get into it later. And since Hazelnut, sorry guys, and since Hazelnut had always never let her children out of the barn since Iris's death, this was a major step for her to take. The little Tom asked his brother, who begged him to refuse. But the little Tom wanted to experience these walks. So he said he'd go, and Hazelnut took him on one, despite his brother really not wanting him to go on one. So, Hazelnut took her little kit on one of these walks, and when they came back, Bracken was standing over Eucalyptus's dead, bloodied body. Fun. So, the little kit realized that something was going on here that Bracken and Hazelnut just didn't want to tell him, and confronted Bracken, who responded with, "It was the rats." But there hadn't been rats in years at the barn. So, when Bracken realized that excuse wasn't going to work, he tried, "It was the foxes," which also didn't work because there was blood on his maul, and it was definitely not fox blood because otherwise he'd have orange tufts of fox fur in his claws. And he had blood on his claws, but the fur in between his claws was Eucalyptus's fur, not fox's fur. So, Hazelnut, as a last resort, named her little kit Tattered for all of the destruction in her family. He couldn't believe this, really. It was a horrible thing, but he took the name and held it with pride despite the consequences that it would cause. And Hazelnut was actually pregnant with a child at that point. The child was born, and once she was finished weaning him, so Tattered is basically old enough to begin his apprentice training at this point. A little bit older, like he already began, because it took a moon for Hazelnut to actually give birth to her kids after that. So Tattered is now 7 moons old, with his little brother who is 3 moons old. After his little brother was weaned, well, he actually had 2 little brothers, sorry, Hazelnut ran with one of the she-cats, naming her Blizzard on the way from the barn. This was at night, so Tattered had no way to stop her. Bracken went with her, and Tattered had to create a family for him and his and his 2 little brothers alone. But in his sleep one night, while he was still trying to think of names for his little brothers, because at this point he just thought it was a tradition to wait for a while before naming your kids, he got this dream. He didn't know that it was a vision from anywhere, but it was. But he just thought it was a dream. But the dream told him that that the brown kit will live, and the gray kit, his other brother, will die. So, Tattered named his brown brother, like his brown furred brother, Boar, and left his other brother unnamed. Soon after this, like a couple moons, so at this point Boar was 5 moons old. Oh, and his littermate too. the kit that Tattered had left unnamed died from kitten cough. The story changes every time between green cough and kitten cough because I can never remember which one it was. But I'm pretty sure at this point that it was kitten cough. That would have been easier. Yeah. Anyways, Tattered, hardly trained at all because his parents didn't bother, started training himself and Boar throughout the whole entire day. And during these trainings, which were super good, and they got a lot of tips and tricks from each other that they didn't even know each other knew or themselves knew, the foxes came back, and there were more of them this time than when Iris fought them. Tattered tried his hardest to stay strong, and so did Boar. And they were doing pretty good, defeating all of the foxes that tried to attack them. However, after one of these attacks, Boar got sick with green cough. And Tattered, not having any idea how to treat his little brother, tried every plant in the forest, even ones that weren't even really useful. Yet, Boar's condition only worsened and worsened, and during one of the fox attacks, since Tattered didn't have enough strength to defeat them alone, they both went down. However, Tattered woke up in the Wind Clan medicine den, while Boar woke up as a ghost. So, Tattered healed in the Wind Clan medicine den, and the Wind Clan cats broke the news to him about what happened to his brother, and he mourned for Boar for a couple moons, but then he finally realized that Boar would want him to continue on fighting the foxes, so Tattered went back to the barn, but instead of foxes, there was a group of cats living there. Among them was a cat named Icy, a cat named Harmony, a cat named Moon, and a cat named Berry. Despite the fact that he was a couple moons older than these cats, he became close friends with them, and they hung out all of the time. And then, Icy, destined to become a medicine cat of one of the clans, had a vision in her dreams. I don't know why I had to specify that. That the 4 cats, because there were only 4 clans at the time, 4 of the cats in her friend group, had to go to the clans. And she had a vision of her and her friends living in separate clans, but she couldn't find Harmony anywhere in these visions. So, when Harmony went to get fresh kill for the whole group, she told them about the vision before anybody could leave with her. Well, leave with Harmony. For a while, the cats didn't believe her, but slowly, as their own dreams started haunting them with visions of them staying at the barn and getting killed in brutal ways, they began to accept that Icy might be right, that maybe they actually do have to go to the clans. So, from there, they all moved into separate clans. What? I'm recording a video.
Huh?
I'm recording a video.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's alright. What?
I was just gonna say look outside when you get them, and it's a good thing we got the packages when we did.
Okay. So, anyways, where was I? Oh, right. Tattered chose Wind Clan because they had healed him in his time of need, while Icy decided that since she was such a strong swimmer, she might be more fit for River Clan. Berry joined Thunder Clan, and Moon joined Shadow Clan, since it was the only clan remaining. And they left Harmony to suffer alone. Icy fit into the role of medicine cat. Well, before that, she became an apprentice to the current River Clan medicine cat as Iced Paw. Tattered was old enough to not have to be an apprentice, and the clan was impressed by his extraordinary skills. So he immediately became Tatteredamber, a warrior of Wind Clan. Moon became the Dark Whisker because she preferred that name over Moon Whisker, which was the name that the clan was trying to give her. And while Moon Whisker is a fun name too, she just really wanted her suffix to either be something very important or not be not have the prefix Moon at all. And so they refused to change her suffix, so she decided to change her prefix to Dark to help them out a little. Berry became Berry Speck, so Moon was the only one who had to change her prefix, but she did it because she wanted to, not because she had to. Tatteredamber mentored an apprentice named Oakpaw and quickly became successful in Wind Clan, so he became their deputy. Dark Whisker took care of a few kits. Well, actually, there was this kit named Spiked Kit in ThunderClan to a random ThunderClan queen that I don't really want to get into right now. And ShadowClan was in desperate need of more warriors, so they kidnapped Spiked Kit and a few of his littermates and brought them back to the clan. When that happened, Dark Whisker wanted to hear all about the stories that all of the adventures that Berry Speck had gotten into without her. And she took Spiked Kit and all of his littermates under her wing, along with her current kits. He told her all about what he remembered about Berry Speck, since she didn't cross his mind very often. And Dark Whisker was pleased to hear that she was doing well. So, then, she becomes deputy of ShadowClan as well. However, Tatteredamber was still a warrior of Wind Clan then. She became the leader, their leader, Darkstar, after their leader, who only had one life when he appointed her, left, died, and she became Darkstar, the fair leader of ShadowClan. And Spiked Kit became Spiked Fang and cared a lot about her. But her medicine cat, Golden Tooth, was convinced that she had had a vision that Wind Clan was going to attack Shadow Clan, kind of like how Goose Feather with Pine Star, and that Shadow Clan had to attack first. Tatteredamber was deputy at this time. So, Dark Whisker ran in, and she attacked. During the attack, one of her warriors ended Tatteredamber's life, and when she saw it, she called a retreat and never dared to make her warriors attack Wind Clan again. The end. So tell me what you thought, and if you want to hear more about my OC's Distant Horizons story is next. Let's just speed this up so you get to see the end. Bye, everyone.